Hey, this is Maurice. All right, to be a great leader, whether it's at the executive level, upper management, middle management, or front lines, you have to be really good at people skills. As a matter of fact, Patrick Luciani sets as his three markers of what a great team player is. Number one, you have to be hungry, you have to be humble, coachable, and you have to have great people skills. So if it's true, which I believe it is, if it's true that a great team player requires those three things, and at the very core of being a great team player is being good at people skills, well, as a manager, you have to be. You just cannot train, develop people unless you become good at reading people, at reading personalities, and knowing what to do about it. You have to be good at reading the different styles and knowing how to connect with each of them. This is why we hear all the time that you can't treat everyone the same. You can't approach everybody the same way. And that's correct. As far as how you connect with people, how you motivate them, how you encourage them, how you tap into what makes them successful and help them develop their professionalism and problem solving, you have to be good at personality. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's get started.
All right, so let's talk about people. Personalities is just what people come with. And we all come into this world with some hardwired things. It happens the first 5 years of our lives. Some people say that it's as much as just 6 months, that in the first 6 months, human beings learn their environment real well, and it locks into their personality certain approaches based on the nurturing factor, but also what the other personalities are around the house. A firstborn child, and you have a dominant father, a passive mother, you're probably going to gear in a different direction with your personality than if you're the second child whose mom is the dominant, whose brother's the compliant, and whose dad's the passive. And whatever the mixture is, we human beings tend to gravitate to that empty space. If there is no empty space, third or fourth child tends to go to where the weakest space is to find their place. And so it's a real interesting concept of birth order. It's tied all into personalities. But the big debate is whether you can actually learn behaviors after that or not. Of course, I come from the school of thought that yes, you can. Okay, so I don't buy into the notion that, well, you just can't teach people or can't teach people leaders. You're a born leader. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Leadership can be taught. I even disagree a lot with a lot of the memes out there that says there's these 12 things that money can't buy. Attitude. You can't buy attitude. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can't teach people to have good character. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can't teach people to be honest. Yes, you can. You know what I'm saying? I don't know of any behavior or attitude that can't be taught. Well, first of all, I'm a trainer, so I believe it can be taught. I think what those memes are trying to say is that there's things that you should come to the table with already to a job without expecting the job to teach it to you. That's what I think those memes are. So there's a lot to be said in that. But as a leader that I try to be, or as a trainer, as a manager, I come from the school of thought that no, I'm going to develop you. I hired you for a reason. I see strengths, I see gaps, but I'm going to train you and develop you to where I need you to be in order to be successful. If I'm not willing to develop you because I have a concept that says that, oh, you can't teach people, well then you better hire the perfect. And those come very rare and those come very expensive. But even a perfect person, it just doesn't work. So I like to invite everybody to always think in terms of personalities, that you're not trying to change the personality at all. You're in personality training. You are not trying to change anyone's personality. What are you trying to change? I'm going to say it in one word: their behaviors. I can train you, not as good as you were if you were natural, but if you're a good listener and you're not a good talker and I need you to talk, then we got to talk about your talking. But if you talk a lot and you don't know how to listen, I got to work on your listening skills. But if you come from the school of thought that can't be taught, then what are you going to do with me? You're eventually going to run out of patience with me. So when the person that did my first personality test gave it to me, when I read it, I really thought, okay, he's going to fire me. Because I saw enough stuff in my personality profile that was like, yeah. And then I started reading a lot of the negatives and I'm going, oh no. And so he's like, so, did you read page 10? And I'm like, yeah, I read page 10. He said, so, what do you think? I said, what do you think about my page 10? He said, we got some work to do. Is that you? And I was like, I don't know. Can I plead the fifth? And he says, no, because I've already seen page 10. That is you. But is that you? That is me. He said, Okay, so tell me, what does page 10 say? I didn't want to repeat page 10. So it's this whole thing about is self-awareness that we fight. It's a journey on self-awareness, and you realize that, wow, we're all reacting to each other's preferences. We have certain styles that we like to come with to the table, and we don't realize that with those strengths come weaknesses, and with those weaknesses that may not in themselves be weaknesses, we just simply do them too much. That triggers other people's behaviors, and then that person behaves, and then that triggers me. So what you're looking here is you're looking at the many different behaviors, and what we're looking for is we're looking for a good fit. We want to be able to have the people in the right seat, in the right position for the right task. If you have a very analytical position, you have to be careful not to put a non-analytical person in that position. If the position requires a lot of promoting of ideas, a lot of communication, a lot of, you do not put an analytical person there. You have to understand what questions to ask, what to look for during the interview process, and just recognize that people speak to what they're comfortable with. So you let them talk. You have 4 styles, behaviors. The DISC program uses these labels: dominant, influential, steady, and conscientious. DISC. The 2 at the top are the extroverts. The 2 at the bottom are your introverts. The biggest difference between the extroverts and introverts, just think of it this way. The extrovert uses externalness to manifest themselves. The introvert doesn't. The extroverts are counting on words and body language to make the point, whereas the introverts use silence to then speak. My business partner said it this way: extroverts, they need to talk in order to make the point, which is why they're not linear thinkers. The introvert does the exact opposite. The introvert does not like that journey. I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to process, and then I'm going to use my words to make my point one time. It's an issue of timing. Here's what I mean by that. The biggest difference between the extroverts and introverts, it's this. Y'all ready? Here it is. Let's see if we can get to 9 seconds. Good, we got the 9 seconds. That's how long your true blue introvert needs and wants of silence when you ask him a question. You ask me a question, let me think about it. I'm about to answer you. Introverts like easily anywhere between 5 to 15 seconds to think and process. But on the other extreme, the extroverts want to talk in less than a fraction of a second. Did you like Maurice's class? I love class. What was your favorite part? Oh gosh, after lunch it was great. No, actually, before lunch. You know what? The first one was absolutely, oh yeah, I loved it. You know what? I don't know that I like. See, that's what extroverts like. Constant brainstorming. No linear conversation. All over the place. So basically what I teach teams, it's a 6-second rule. Extroverts need to learn to create 5 to 6 seconds of silence, especially if they know they're talking to introverts. And introverts need to speed it up and talk within 5-6 seconds. We're not waiting around 9 seconds. It's amazing. I just cannot tell you how powerful it is for extroverts to just hold their thoughts, especially with introverts. Ready? So, hey, look, about that report, where do you think we're at? Where do you think we're at on that report? Really? Cool. Tell me about it. See, you see how Maurice went? It's all about learned behavior. It's me practicing. If my scene in the play requires for me to be happy, then I show happiness. If my next scene requires for me to be calm, then you're calm. When you're around introverts, calm it down. Okay, when you're around extroverts, be a little bit, you just got to read the audience. But if you don't understand these, you can't be emotionally intelligent. Okay, so let's, on the right-hand side, remember, the D's and the I's are the extroverts. On the low, the S and C's, they're the introverts. On the right-hand side are the people. Those are the social ambiverts. There it is, Susie. This could get confusing. No, it's not. I'm about to demystify it. The folks on the right-hand side, the I's and the S's, are your social ambivert. They're both extrovert and introvert, but they focus on social things. How's your mama doing? How was the weekend? Don't you love it? They're all about people, big picture, relationships, okay? They like to, when they go into a meeting, they like to have the first, if it's an hour meeting, they want to talk chit-chat for 45 minutes. And they will not stop. Why? Because they believe business is done through personal conversations. Then on the other side is the non-people, the more results-oriented, non-social ambivert, the ones that want 8 seconds of chit-chat. And for that chit-chat to happen before I got into the room. That's why I show up 3 minutes late. I'm hoping y'all are finished with all that. I'm coming in. So basic rule of business meetings. For every 1 hour, you start with 3 minutes of social. Everybody participates. You end the meeting with 3 minutes of social. Everybody participates. And you got 53 minutes of nothing but business. Nobody puts on a humor alert or joking around in those. Why? Because we got to do business. And if you train everybody to come into meetings like that, you respect both sides. Why? Because here we got to do business about the serious matters of the left side of the world, but we're going to cushion it between a bookmark of people stuff at the beginning and people stuff at the end. And we're not going to have our rubber bands wound so tight that we can't have people. Okay? But do you see how people gravitate? Okay, so now me having said this, where do you put yourself? Most of us have two of these that are more predominant than others. Some of us have one. Most of us have two of these behaviors that we like the most, that we gravitate the most. And here are the behaviors: action, enthusiasm, collaboration, support and process, stability, accuracy, challenge, results. Where you're good at one, the opposite extreme is your weakness. If I'm results oriented, I'm probably going to be process weak. If I'm accuracy heavy, I'm probably not going to be a high enthusiastic person. And if I'm a very high enthusiastic person, I'm not going to be very accurate. This is one of the best tools to read a room and learn the room and watch what people say, how they talk, read the room, and you realize, and you just basically learn where your people are.
Hey, everybody, great job making it through this. Go to the next module. Let's get moving to the next levels. Good luck. And again, thank you for joining the program. Honored to help you.